Chapter 1: Blood Moon Rescue. The forest was burning. Not with fire, though smoke hung thick in the night air, but with screams, with a sound of tearing flesh, with the unmistakable echo of death. My bare feet pounded the mud, slipping against fallen pine needles, as I ran with every shred of strength I had left. Behind me I could still hear them. Hunters, wolves, my own pack. I didn't know who was killing who anymore. I only knew one thing: if I slowed down I would die. Branches snapped against my face, scratches opening across my cheeks, but I didn't dare wipe them away. The copper taste of blood filled my mouth where I'd bitten down too hard, stifling the sob that threatened to rip from my throat. I'd lost everything: my family, my home, my pack. And worst of all, I had lost the illusion of safety. The blood moon should have been a night of celebration, a night when fated bonds were revealed, when futures were sealed. Instead, it had turned into a massacre. I didn't know why they attacked. I didn't even know who started it. All I remembered was the flash of silver, the war cries of rival alphas clashing, and the sight of my cousin's throat opening under a stranger's claws. Now I was prey. My legs screamed for rest, but terror pushed me forward. The scent of iron filled the air, thick and cloying. Wolves never stopped once they caught a scent. And I was leaving a trail. "Keep running, little rabbit." The voice carried across the trees. Not my imagination. Not a nightmare. One of them was close, too close. I stumbled over a root and fell hard, mud splattering across my torn dress. For one horrifying moment I froze, staring up at the blood-red moon bleeding through the trees. The omen of ruin. The hunter's night. I clawed at the ground, forcing myself up, when something massive moved in the shadows ahead. Wolf. Not just a wolf. The biggest wolf I had ever seen. His fur gleamed like obsidian under moonlight, darker than the night itself. His eyes glowed amber, fierce and unyielding, and when his gaze locked on mine, my chest tightened in panic. I thought I had escaped. Instead, I had run straight into the jaws of a beast. He stepped forward, and the earth seemed to bow under his weight. His presence was suffocating, primal, the kind that made instincts scream to kneel or die. Nalfa. I pressed back against the nearest tree, trembling so hard my teeth chattered. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The hunters burst into the clearing behind me, 3 of them, blades gleaming silver. I spun toward them, my hands uselessly raised in defense, when a low growl split the air. The wolf moved. Faster than my eyes could follow. He lunged at the nearest hunter. Claws ripped through armor and flesh like paper, a wet spray catching the moonlight. The second man swung his blade, but the wolf snapped it in half with his jaws before tearing his arm clean from his body. I couldn't move. My body was paralyzed, caught between horror and awe. The last hunter tried to flee, stumbling into the trees. He didn't get far. The wolf chased him down, ending his life with a sickening crack. Silence. Only my shallow, panicked breathing remained. The wolf turned toward me again, muzzle dripping red, eyes fixed. Not hungry. Not feral. Something worse, calculated. I pressed harder against the tree, my fingers digging into the bark. Please." The word broke from me in a whisper, though I wasn't sure who I was begging, him, the moon, or death itself. He didn't pounce. Instead, his body shivered, bones cracking, fur receding. Before my eyes, the monster shifted, rising onto 2 legs, becoming something both human and not. And when the transformation was complete, I was staring at a man. Broad-shouldered. His body glistened with blood and sweat, naked under the moonlight. Scars slashed across his chest, his arms, his throat, marks of battle survived. His face was sharp, merciless, carved from stone. And his eyes, those same amber eyes, burned into me. "You're bleeding." His voice was rough, guttural, like gravel dragged across steel. I swallowed hard, pressing my arms against my chest. Don't hurt me." One dark brow lifted. "If I wanted to hurt you, little rabbit, you'd already be dead." The way he said it, casual matter of fact, made my stomach twist. He stepped closer, slow, deliberate. I wanted to run, but my body refused to obey. Every instinct screamed danger, yet something deeper pulled at me. Something I couldn't explain. Why did you kill them? My voice shook. They were mine to kill. His gaze swept over me, sharp and assessing. And you're mine to keep. My heart stopped. What? You heard me. He reached out, brushing a strand of tangled hair from my face with fingers still stained in blood. You belong to me now. I flinched back, pressing against the tree. No, I don't. His grip closed around my wrist before I could finish, strong and unyielding. His touch wasn't gentle, but it wasn't cruel either. Just certain. Absolute. Run again if you want, he murmured, his face lowering until his breath ghosted across my cheek. I'll catch you. Every time. My chest heaved, torn between fury and fear. He was my savior. And now my captor. The alpha who saved me, I whispered, the truth sinking in like a knife. Won't let me go. His lips curved, not into a smile but something far more dangerous. You're learning quickly, little rabbit. And under the blood moon, with the corpses cooling around us, I realized my nightmare had only just begun. Chapter 2: The Cage of Gold. I didn't remember falling asleep. 1 minute I was in the forest, dragged half-conscious by a man who moved like a shadow. The next I was waking up in a bed so soft it felt like a trap disguised as a cloud. The room around me was enormous, bigger than any home I'd ever seen. Dark wood beams arched across the ceiling, tapestries of wolves and moons lined the walls, and a fire crackled low in a stone hearth. The scent of pine smoke mixed with something musky, wild, male, dangerous. I bolted upright, heart hammering. My legs were weak, but adrenaline forced me to stand. The sheets slipped away, revealing my torn dress, now strangely clean. Someone had wiped the blood from my skin. My wrists bore faint marks where his fingers had held me. There were no bars on the windows, but they were narrow, high, and set into stone. Escape would mean a dangerous jump and a likely death. It wasn't a cell. It was worse. A cage built to feel like a sanctuary. I spun at the sound of footsteps. He entered as if he owned the air itself. Alpha. My rescuer. He'd cleaned himself too. Dark trousers, black shirt rolled to the elbows, scars still visible but less savage in human form. His amber eyes flicked over me like a predator taking stock of his prey. You're awake. His voice was lower in daylight, but no less rough. Good. Where am I? My voice cracked, but I forced steel into it. In my home, he said simply. Safe. For now. If. The word tasted bitter. You can't keep me here. One corner of his mouth curved, again not a smile. Can't. He came closer, his presence filling the room until the walls seemed to shrink. I already am. I took a step back, fists clenched. Why? You don't even know me. His eyes darkened. Don't I? I shook my head. No. I'm not your. You don't know what you are. His words cut sharp as claws. But I do. I stiffened, confusion warring with panic. What are you talking about? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he moved to a table near the window, pouring water from a decanter into a glass. Every movement was unhurried, deliberate, like a wolf circling prey. When he finally spoke, his voice had dropped to something dangerous. Your scent doesn't lie. Not to me. Not under a blood moon. I hugged myself as if that could hide me. I'm not from your pack. I'm human. His laugh was low, humorless. Not quite. My pulse stuttered. I'm nothing. I was nobody in my pack. Just the girl they threw to the wolves. His gaze snapped to mine, and the truth in his tone felt like a blade sliding under my ribs. My throat tightened. I don't know what you mean. He came closer, setting the glass on the table beside me. His scent hit first. Forest, blood, smoke. My knees nearly buckled. He didn't touch me this time, but his nearness was its own form of touch. You smell like them. His voice was a growl. But there's something else. Something older. Stronger. You don't even feel it yet, do you? I don't want to feel anything, I snapped, trying to break the spell. I just want to leave. His eyes burned brighter. You think you're a prisoner, aren't I? For the first time, something like a flicker of emotion crossed his face. Regret. Anger. It vanished as quickly as it appeared. You're alive because of me, he said, each word deliberate. If you walk out of this house now, you'll be dead before nightfall. My enemies, your enemies, the hunters. Take your pick. Every one of them wants a piece of you. You don't even know why. He leaned closer, voice dropping to a rasp. But I do. I swallowed hard. Then tell me. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he said something that chilled me more than the forest had. Because you're mine. My stomach turned. You saved me. That doesn't mean you own me. It's not ownership. His jaw clenched, muscles shifting. It's bond. I shook my head. No. I didn't choose you. Neither did I. His voice cracked on the edge of a growl. But the blood moon did. I stared at him, heart slamming. You're lying. I don't lie. His eyes caught the firelight, glowing almost inhuman. You're not here because I want you. You're here because fate decided you're my mate. The word hit like a slap. No, I stumbled back, shaking. No, that's not possible. My mate was dead. His tone was icy. Or chosen for you by your pack, like cattle at a market. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. You don't know anything about me. I know enough. He reached out again. This time, when his fingers brushed my jaw, I didn't flinch. I wanted to, but some part of me, treacherous, confused, froze instead. You're in danger, he said quietly. Not from me. From the world. They'll come for you again. And next time I won't be fast enough. Then let me go somewhere safe. His expression hardened. There is no safe without me. The room seemed to shrink again. Heat pressing in from the fire. I realized then what made this more frightening than the massacre, than the hunters, than anything. It wasn't that he wanted to kill me. It was that he believed, absolutely, that keeping me here was saving me. A cage of gold was still a cage. And the alpha who had saved me wasn't going to open the door. Chapter 3, The Mate Bond Twist. The next day dawned gray and heavy. A mist clung to the mountains outside the narrow windows, curling around the trees like ghosts. Somewhere far below, wolves howled, a chorus that made the stone walls vibrate. I sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, trying not to breathe too deeply. His scent was everywhere. Even the firewood smelled like him. A tray of food sat untouched on the table. Bread still steaming, fruit cut into perfect slices, a mug of something warm. I wasn't sure if he'd left it himself, or if some silent servant had crept in while I slept. I didn't eat. My stomach was a knot. I was alive. I was warm. I was clean. I was trapped. The door opened without warning. He filled the doorway, shoulders brushing the frame, hair still damp from a shower, a dark Henley clinging to his chest. His eyes went straight to me, assessing, calculating. You didn't eat. His voice was flat but carried weight, like an accusation and a concern rolled together. I'm not hungry, I muttered. You need strength. I need freedom. A flicker crossed his face. Not surprise, something like restraint. He stepped into the room and shut the door with a quiet click. You think this is a prison. I know it is. He came closer, hands at his sides, eyes burning. A prison protects as much as it restrains. A gilded cage is still a cage. His jaw ticked. You'd rather be dead. I'd rather choose. The words hung between us, sharp as broken glass. He stopped a few feet away, looking at me like a man staring at a wild thing he wanted to tame but didn't know how. Then quietly he said, I didn't choose this either. I frowned. Choose what? His gaze didn't waver. You. Something in my chest stuttered. What are you talking about? He exhaled, running a hand over his face. For the first time since I'd met him, he looked almost tired. Fate, he said. The blood moon. You don't understand what it means. Then explain it. He hesitated. Then, as if deciding something, he crossed the room and crouched down in front of me. The move was strange. An alpha lowering himself. When the blood moon rises, he began, bonds awaken. Not the kind your pack elders talk about. Political matches dressed up as destiny. Real bonds. Old as the first wolves. I stared at him, pulse in my throat. You were bleeding in that forest, he continued, voice low. I could smell it. Could smell you. And then. He broke off, eyes flickering amber. It hit. Like claws in the chest. Like fire in the blood. The bond. I shook my head. You're making this up. His mouth curved, humorless. I wish I were. I hugged my arms around myself. You don't know me. You don't know what I've done. I know enough. No, you don't. The words tore out before I could stop them. I was supposed to be mated to someone else. His eyes darkened. Who? I looked away. My pack arranged it. We weren't. We didn't. I swallowed. He didn't want me either. A low growl rumbled in his chest, not directed at me but at the thought of another man. Then they betrayed you twice, he said. Blink. What? He straightened, towering over me again. They gave you to hunters. Do you think I don't know? I found their scent on you. Silver dust on your skin. My stomach lurched. That's not true. It is. His eyes burned like molten metal. They marked you for death. I claimed you first. You stood shaking. I'm not yours to claim. His expression shifted. Alpha steel, no softness. Fate disagrees. I don't care what fate says. He stepped closer, voice dropping to a low rasp. Fate doesn't care what you think either. Heat rose in my face, fury and something else I didn't want to name. This is insane. You can't just decide. I didn't decide. His voice cracked like thunder. It's in my blood now. In yours too. You feel it. Don't lie. I opened my mouth to deny it, but nothing came out. Because deep down, under the terror and the anger, something pulsed. A thread tugging me toward him. A pull that shouldn't exist. I hate you, I whispered. He tilted his head. Then why are you trembling? Tears burned my eyes. Because you're a monster. His lips curved, but it wasn't amusement. Monsters protect their own. He reached out, brushing his knuckles along my jaw. Not rough, not gentle, just claiming. Sparks skittered under my skin, electric, terrifying. This will get worse, he said softly. The bond. The craving. You'll feel it more each day. I won't. You already are. I shoved his hand away, heart racing. I'll never be yours. His eyes flared amber, but his voice stayed low. Say that as many times as you want. It won't change what you are. He turned and walked to the door, pausing with his hand on the frame. I'll give you time, he said. But not freedom. Then he was gone, leaving me shaking, the scent of him lingering like smoke. I pressed my palms to my face, fighting tears. He was wrong. He had to be. But deep in my chest, where my heartbeat should have been steady, something else throbbed. A rhythm not my own. And that terrified me more than any cage. Chapter 4: The Pack's Fury. The morning air was sharp, bitter with frost, and heavy with the tension of voices I couldn't see. I had been awake for hours, watching the flickering shadows of the forest through the high windows, trying to understand the rules of this new world. But understanding was impossible. I was a stranger here, a prize or a threat depending on who looked at me, and everyone looked differently. Then the shouting began. Froze. The sound was unmistakable. Guttural, sharp, filled with authority and fury. Alpha's pack. Voices carried from the courtyard below, rising to the rafters of my room. "She doesn't belong here," one voice bellowed. "She is not ours. She is not of this pack. She's a human," another roared, teeth bared. "Blood of hunters stains her skin. She could be the death of us all." I pressed myself against the wall, heart hammering. Every instinct screamed to run, but where could I go? The Alpha had already proven faster than any human. The door to my room burst open without warning. The Alpha entered, his presence instantly pushing back the noise from below. Amber eyes blazing, he radiated command. "They speak too loudly," he muttered low, more to himself than to me. Then his gaze caught mine, sharp, dangerous. "Are you afraid?" I shook my head, though my body trembled. "No. My voice faltered. "I can hear them." He didn't answer, only moved to the window and looked down, surveying the pack as if weighing their worth against mine. "They don't understand," he said finally. "You are mine." "They don't care," I whispered. "And they might try to kill me." A flicker of something, anger, frustration, desire, crossed his face. Then he turned, hands clenched at his sides. "Let them try." The next hour was chaos. The Alpha summoned his pack into the main hall. One by one they entered, fangs bared, eyes darting to me with suspicion and hostility. The hall smelled of wolf fur, sweat, and tension so thick I could taste it. A tall male stepped forward, head lowered, stance challenging. "You've brought a stranger into our home. Someone who is not of our blood. You endanger all of us. She should not be here." "I will not argue with you," the Alpha said, voice low, steady, cutting through the tension. "She is under my protection." The pack erupted into shouts, growls, and snarls. "Protection?" Another snarled. "She is a liability. She is a human. She is cursed." I could feel their gaze on me, burning, judging, calculating whether to accept me or kill me. The Alpha's voice rose like a whip. "Enough." For a moment silence fell, broken only by the crackling of the fire. Then he stepped forward, moving to stand directly in front of me. His amber eyes swept the pack. "She is mine," he said. The words were simple, but the authority behind them was absolute. Every muscle in his body was tense, every fiber of his being radiating power. "She is not yours to claim," someone shouted. "She is," he replied, voice harder now, dangerous. "And if you step out of line, you will answer to me." A murmur went through the pack, a mix of fear and anger. Some stepped back, others stepped forward, testing him, pushing the boundaries. I pressed my palms to my chest, trying to steady my racing heart. The Alpha was relentless, unyielding. But so were they. A female stepped forward, eyes bright with fury. "You cannot protect her forever. She will bring us ruin." "Then let her ruin fall on me," he said simply, unflinching. The tension escalated. Threats flew like daggers. I wanted to shrink, to disappear, to crawl under the floor and escape the impossible. Then he growled, a deep, guttural sound that seemed to rattle the stone walls. The sound was raw, primal, and the pack froze. Even I felt it in my chest, the vibration, the warning. "I will not argue," he said. "She stays. End of discussion. And any of you who challenge me will find that the law of the Alpha is not mercy, but obedience." A silence fell, thick and uneasy. Then one by one, the pack members bowed their heads, some muttering under their breath, some still glaring at me, but all acknowledging the decree. I swallowed, fear and relief warring inside me. He had protected me. But at what cost? He turned to me, the firelight glinting off his scars, eyes softer now, almost tender. "Do you understand?" "Yes," I whispered. "Good," he said, voice low. "Because this is only the beginning." I wanted to ask what that meant. I wanted to argue, to demand freedom, to tell him I was not his. But the fear in his eyes, anger mixed with the possibility of protecting me, and the knowledge of the pack's fury made me silent. I realized then, the cage of gold was not just the walls. It was the Alpha. And I was trapped by more than just stone. Chapter 5: The Alpha's Law. The hall was cold, though the fire still burned low in the hearth. Frost clung to the windows, painting the world outside in silver and white. Inside, tension roared like a storm just waiting to break. The pack had gathered again. The air smelled of fur, sweat, and fear. Even I could feel it prickling against my skin like static. Every eye in the room was on us, sharp, waiting, weighing. The Alpha stood before the assembly, his presence absolute. Amber eyes scanned the room, finally landing on me. I could feel the pull of his attention, magnetic and terrifying. "Today," he began, voice low, deliberate, "we decide the future of this pack." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some leaned forward, teeth bared, claws flexing. Others exchanged wary glances, knowing what was coming but not daring to speak. "I brought her here," he continued, gesturing toward me. "She is mine, under my protection. Her blood has bound her to me, whether you acknowledge it or not. And I will not compromise her safety for your doubts." "She's human," someone shouted. "She doesn't belong in our pack." "She is not human," he replied coldly. "And even if she were, the blood moon does not lie. She is my mate." I swallowed hard. The word hit like iron, and the weight of it crushed me in ways I wasn't ready for. "You would endanger us all," another growled. "I would endanger myself," he said, voice rising. "But this is my law. You may obey or leave. Anyone who challenges me will answer to me directly. Do I make myself clear?" A tense silence followed. Some wolves shifted uncomfortably. Others bared teeth in defiance, but none spoke. The Alpha's power pressed down on the room like gravity itself. I shivered, torn between fear and fascination. He was merciless, unflinching, but there was something primal about the way he commanded loyalty. Then he stepped closer, eyes locking with mine. The firelight danced in them, amber glowing brighter, hotter. "You have a choice," he murmured, though no one else could hear. "You may submit to this bond, or fight it and die alone. The blood moon has marked you. You cannot undo it." I tried to pull back, to deny it, but my feet wouldn't move. The pull of the bond was real, undeniable, as if some invisible chain had wrapped around my heart and lungs. I began, but the words caught in my throat. "Do not speak," he commanded softly, but there was a heat under it that left me trembling. "Not yet." He turned back to the pack. "Make no mistake. This is my law. I will defend her. I will enforce this bond. Anyone who disobeys will answer to me, and they will not survive." The room erupted in tension. Some wolves stepped back, bowing their heads in silent acceptance. Others muttered threats, but the Alpha ignored them. His focus was unshakable. I felt my chest tighten, trapped between awe and terror. Every word he spoke reinforced the impossible reality. I was his. My life, my freedom, my very existence had become subject to the will of a man I barely knew. And yet somehow that same man had saved me from death. "You see," he said, voice quieter now, softer but no less commanding, "this is not cruelty. This is survival. Protection. You will all understand in time." I swallowed, heat rising to my cheeks. Survival. Protection. Words that were meant to comfort me, but instead reminded me that I was trapped, a prize in a dangerous game I hadn't agreed to play. "And you," he said, stepping closer again, eyes boring into mine, "you will learn that this bond is not a curse. Not yet. But it will claim you fully if you let it. And you will have no choice in the matter." I wanted to scream, to fight, to tell him that I would never belong to anyone, but the pull in my chest, the heat of his gaze, the undeniable sense that something ancient and fated was threading our lives together. Couldn't. And in that moment, I realized the terrifying truth. The Alpha's law was more than a decree. It was a chain. And I was already shackled. Chapter 6: The Forbidden Touch. The night after the decree, I couldn't sleep. The pack house creaked like an old ship, the timber walls alive with whispers. Outside, snow fell silently, blanketing the forest in white. Inside, my room felt both too small and too vast. Every shadow stretched long, every sound sharp. I kept replaying his words. You may submit to this bond, or fight it and die alone. It wasn't a threat so much as a prophecy, and that made it worse. I pushed open the window. Cold air rushed in, stinging my face and arms. My breath misted like smoke. For a moment I imagined running. The snow swallowing my tracks. The forest hiding me. Freedom. But even as I pictured it, the bond tightened in my chest. A sharp, invisible tug like a leash being yanked. It pulled me back from the window before I even realized I'd stepped away. Don't, a voice murmured from the darkness. Spun. He was there, leaning against the doorframe, still dressed in black. He moved like shadow and fire all at once, silent but impossible to ignore. His eyes glowed faintly, catching the moonlight like molten gold. You shouldn't be in here, I said, though my voice came out more like a plea than a command. He stepped closer. You were going to run. No. Yes, he cut me off, voice quiet but certain. I felt it. Bon. It wakes me when you move too far. My heart hammered. You can feel me. He nodded once. Always. I backed up until my knees hit the bed frame. This isn't fair. I didn't choose this. I didn't either, he said, and there was something raw in his tone, a crack in the armor. Do you think I wanted a mate with human blood? Do you think I wanted to risk the council's wrath? His confession stunned me. Then why? Because the blood moon doesn't care what we want. His voice dropped lower. It chose. He stood close enough now that the heat of his body cut through the cold air. My pulse pounded. Every instinct screamed to move, but the bond held me still. You can't keep me here, I whispered. I can, he said, but his eyes softened. And I will. Until you're safe. Safe from who? From them. From yourself. From me. The last word sent a shiver down my spine. He reached out slowly, as if touching a wild animal. His fingers hovered near my cheek, not quite touching. The pull between us was electric. I should have slapped his hand away. I should have screamed. Instead, my breath hitched. Don't, I whispered. His hand trembled, then withdrew, but the bond pulsed hotter, like a heartbeat shared between us. This is what you don't understand, he said, stepping back but still holding my gaze. Every time I touch you, it strengthens. Every time you resist, it strengthens. The bond feeds on what we deny it. I clenched my fists. Then I'll starve it. He almost smiled. You'll try. Silence stretched between us, heavy and bright as lightning. Snow drifted in through the open window, landing on my bare feet, melting instantly. You're not my prisoner, he said finally, voice quieter. But you're not free. Not yet. What am I? His jaw tightened. Mine. For now. The words hung in the air, dangerous and intimate. I felt anger surge, but underneath it, something else. Curiosity. Terror. All tangled up. You're a monster, I whispered. He tilted his head. Yes. Then he turned and left, vanishing into the dark hallway, leaving the window open, the snow falling in, and me trembling with a cocktail of fury and something I couldn't name. I shut the window slowly. The bond still pulsed, a hot, restless thing under my skin. Hated it. I hated him. But when I lay back down, heart racing, I realized something that made my blood run cold. I wanted him to come back. Chapter 7. The Trial of Loyalty. The morning after the forbidden touch, the pack was restless. The hallways echoed with low growls, whispers, and the sharp click of claws against stone. Every wolf seemed on edge, teeth bared, muscles coiled, as though sensing a battle that was coming long before it arrived. I stayed in my room, huddled in a thick blanket, listening. My heartbeat matched the pack's rhythm. Anxious, erratic, dangerous. Every instinct screamed to flee. Yet the bond kept me rooted, invisible chains tugging me toward him, even now. Then the sound came. Hooves on the stone, rapid and precise. A knock at the great doors of the hall. Not casual. Not ceremonial. A warning. They're here, I whispered to myself. The Alpha's voice followed, low and steady. You don't need to hide. Not from them. Not from anyone. I turned to see him step into the room, the firelight making the scars on his chest seem almost ceremonial. His amber eyes glinted with anger, warning, and something else, the same heat that had made my body betray me the night before. They've arrived, he said, almost under his breath. The Council of Elders. They intend to force the pack to act against us. Against you. I swallowed hard. Me. Yes, he said, voice flat but heavy. They'll claim that your presence brings dishonor, that keeping you here endangers the pack, that I've broken their laws. I pressed my arms around myself, trying to hide the fear, trying to keep my mind from racing. What will you do? He stepped closer, every movement predatory, deliberate. I will enforce my law. I will defend what is mine. If they want war, they'll have it. I shivered. Not from cold, but from the danger radiating off him. The hall was filled moments later with the council. Elder wolves, men and women older than I could imagine, flecked with gray, eyes sharp and calculating. They circled us, murmuring, judging, weighing my value as if I were a commodity. You've gone too far, Alpha, the eldest said, claws clicking against the stone floor. A human fated mate. Against our laws. Against the blood code. I have not gone too far, he said calmly, voice like steel. I have only protected what was marked. The bond is real, and it cannot be denied. She is mine. A murmur rose among the elders, some shocked, some angry. One stepped forward, jaw tight, eyes narrowing. Marking a human as mate breaks centuries of tradition. You endanger the pack for your desires. Do you understand that? I understand perfectly, he replied. And if you strike against her, you strike against me. And I will not hesitate. The room tensed. Growls and snarls echoed off the walls, claws scraping stone. I pressed my hands to my mouth. The tension was unbearable. One elder, a female with fur silvered with age, stepped forward. Then you force us to act, Alpha. For the good of the pack. Are you prepared to spill your own blood? His amber eyes swept the room. Controlled. Deadly. I will spill what I must. But she will not suffer by your hands. Then, unexpectedly, he turned to me, voice quiet but commanding. Stay close. Do not interfere. My throat was dry. I'm not sure I can just watch. You will, he said. Or you will regret it. The council's challenge was simple. They demanded a trial of loyalty, the Alpha against his own pack. If he failed, I would be handed over, and my life would be at their mercy. The hall emptied except for us. The bond pulsed stronger than ever, pulling me toward him. I wanted to step back, resist, but the invisible leash held me close. He reached out and brushed a hand along my cheek, softer than ever. No matter what happens, he murmured, you will survive. Promise it. Even if I must destroy my own pack to keep you alive. Tears burned my eyes. His vow was terrifying and intoxicating. I hated him for it, but something deep inside me quivered at the truth. And then the trial began. Fangs bared, muscles coiled. The Alpha facing down his own blood, defending me. Every roar, every growl, every snapping jaw carried the weight of history, law, and blood. The controversy wasn't just mine. It was his. And the line between right and wrong blurred with each heartbeat. And as I watched him fight for me, the bond inside me pulsed hotter, brighter, impossible to deny. I hated him. And I wanted him. Chapter 8. The Council's Ultimatum. The hall was tense, every wolf in attendance rigid with expectation. Outside, snow fell silently, coating the courtyard in a pale shroud. Inside, the council sat in carved stone chairs, their eyes sharp and calculating, weighing each movement of the Alpha and me. You've broken tradition, the eldest male said, voice cutting through the silence. By keeping her here, you risked dishonoring the pack and bringing chaos. We give you one chance to correct this. Release her. The words hit me like a blow. My stomach lurched. Release me. The alpha's eyes flared amber. Every muscle tensed. His presence radiating power. She is mine, he said firmly, voice low but resonant, filling the room like a drumbeat. I will not release her. The bond has claimed her, and the blood moon will not lie. Then you leave us no choice, a female elder growled. If you defy us, you risk war with your own pack. They may not stand with you. They may rise against you. I stepped back instinctively, fear and anticipation churning in my chest. The bond pulsed hotter than ever, dragging me toward him despite my instincts screaming to run. He took a step forward, placing himself squarely between me and the council. Then let them rise. I will not abandon her. Not to tradition. Not to fear. Not to you. The room erupted in furious growls. Wolves leapt to their feet, claws scraping stone. Some bared teeth in warning, others in defiance. You force us into rebellion, the eldest male said. You force us to act against you and the law. And you will act, he replied coldly. But she will remain safe. You may attack me, you may challenge me, but anyone who harms her will answer to me, and they will not survive. I pressed my hands to my mouth, watching as the tension escalated. Every wolf in the room radiated danger, loyalty, and anger all at once. The council exchanged glances. Then, in a coordinated decision, they issued the ultimatum: 1 hour to release me. After that, they would authorize any pack member to enforce their will, by force if necessary. The words made my heart pound. 1 hour. 1 hour before my life, and the Alpha's authority was in their hands. He turned toward me, eyes dark, voice low. This is the moment you must trust me. Or die. I shook my head, heart racing. I don't know if I can. You will, he said, moving closer. His amber eyes burned into mine. Because the bond won't let you leave. And neither will I. I swallowed hard. I hate you. And I hate that you are in danger, he said softly, brushing a hand along my cheek. The contact was electric, forbidden, and terrifying. The bond flared, responding to the touch like fire meeting tinder. I don't want this, I whispered. You don't get a choice, he murmured. Not with the blood moon. Not with me. Not now. The air crackled with tension. Outside the hall the pack waited. Inside we were trapped between laws, loyalty, and the unstoppable force of fate. He bent slightly, close enough that I could feel his breath on my face. Stay with me. Trust me. Survive with me. That is all I ask. I wanted to pull away, scream, deny everything, but the bond tightened in my chest, pulling me closer against my will. Fear, fury, and desire warred inside me. You are a monster, I whispered. Yes, he said, voice husky, eyes blazing. And I will protect what is mine. Even from the world. Even from you. The council's ultimatum ticked like a clock, every second a countdown to chaos. I clung to the edge of the fire, to the pull of the bond, to the Alpha himself, knowing that when the hour ended, everything would change. And I wouldn't be able to fight what was coming. Chapter 9. The Alpha's Defiance. The hall fell silent, the only sound the sharp, measured breathing of wolves who knew the storm was coming. Outside, the snow fell in thick flakes, muffling distant howls and footsteps. Inside, the tension was a living thing, thick and suffocating. The council had delivered their ultimatum. Release her or face the consequences. 1 hour. 1 chance. And the Alpha, the man who had saved me from hunters, had done nothing but stand between me and them, silent and unyielding. I shivered. Fear, anticipation, and something darker churned inside me. The bond pulsed, a living thing tugging me toward him. My instincts screamed to fight, to run, but I could not. The eldest male of the council stepped forward, voice low but sharp. You've heard the ultimatum, Alpha. Relinquish her, or we enforce the laws ourselves. This is your final warning. The Alpha's amber eyes glinted like molten gold. Every muscle in his body was coiled, ready, dangerous. He looked at me briefly. His gaze a mixture of possession, warning, and something almost tender. "She is mine," he said calmly, voice carrying over the murmurs and growls. "I will not release her. The bond has chosen, and I will enforce what is fated." A growl rose from the pack, low and menacing. Some were loyal to the council, some uncertain, but all knew the storm that was coming. One of the younger males barked, stepping forward. "You defy the council. The pack may not follow you if you risk them for a human." The alpha's eyes narrowed. "Then let them leave," he said, voice low, dangerous. "But no one harms her. No one touches her. Anyone who does answers to me. Do you understand?" A tense silence fell. Then the council hissed, teeth bared. "You will bring ruin to this pack," one of them spat. "I will bring survival," he replied, unflinching. "I will bring protection. And if survival and protection require me to defy you, I will do so. Even if it means tearing my pack apart." The tension erupted into chaos. Wolves lunged forward, some snapping, others circling, snarls echoing off the stone walls. The council's authority challenged his alpha status. The room became a maelstrom of power, fur, and teeth. I pressed myself against the wall, heart racing, sweat on my brow, trembling not just from fear but from the overwhelming pull of the bond. Every time he moved, it tightened, pulling me closer, claiming me against my will. The alpha moved like a shadow and flame, positioning himself between me and any wolf who dared approach. His amber eyes flared, and his growl rolled through the hall, a sound that made even the boldest council member hesitate. "Back," he warned, voice low and lethal. "Back, or you face me." One elder lunged, claws extended, but he caught her wrist mid-strike with one hand, amber eyes burning. "You forget yourself," he said, voice calm but lethal. "Do not test the law of the alpha." The bond pulsed in my chest, sharp, hot, unyielding. I could feel every heartbeat, every shift of his muscles, every surge of danger. My body betrayed me, trembling with fear, frustration, and something else. Desire. "You will not harm her," he said again, moving to the center of the hall. His presence radiating dominance, power, and a dangerous kind of protection. "You risk everything," one of the elders said, voice tight, controlled but furious. "Your authority, your pack, your life. For a human." He didn't flinch. "I risk everything for what is mine," he said. I felt the pull of the bond tighten like chains, dragging me closer to him, making me tremble with fear and longing. I hated that I wanted him. Hated that the bond, the danger, and the heat of his presence made my heart pound and my body betray me. "You will obey me," he said softly, yet every word carried lethal weight. "Not because I demand it, but because you will survive with me. And because the bond does not lie. You are mine." I wanted to fight, to deny it, to scream that I was not his. But the bond pulsed, a living fire in my chest, and I couldn't move. I couldn't run. I couldn't hide. Chaos raged around us, the pack torn between loyalty, fear, and law. But he didn't falter. Not once. Every movement, every word, every glance was precise, calculated, and utterly alpha. I pressed my hands to my face, trembling. The pull, the danger, the fear, and the forbidden desire made me dizzy. And I realized, I had no choice. Not against him. Not against the bond. Not against fate. And as the first challenge of the council's enforcers moved toward him, I saw it clearly. He would protect me. Even from the world. Even from those who had been his pack. Even from me. I hated him for it. And I wanted him more than I ever thought possible. Chapter 10. The Blood Moon Confrontation. The night of the blood moon arrived with a silence so heavy it pressed down on the packhouse like a storm about to break. The world outside was painted in silver and red, snow glinting under the eerie glow. Inside, the hall seemed smaller, crowded with wolves bristling with fury and anticipation. I stood behind the alpha, heart hammering in my chest. The bond pulsed violently now, alive and insistent, pulling me closer to him as if trying to merge our very souls. Every instinct screamed that I should step back, hide, resist, but the pull was stronger than reason. "They've come for her," a low growl warned from the shadows. He didn't answer. Instead, he moved to the center of the hall, every step deliberate, commanding, predatory. Amber eyes glowing, muscles coiled like springs. He radiated a power that silenced whispers and quelled murmurs. The council entered, elder wolves and young blood alike, fangs bared, claws extended. The air was electric, thick with tension and bloodlust. "You've defied us," the eldest male snarled. "You risk the pack for a human-fated mate. Release her now, or face the consequences." The alpha's jaw tightened, his gaze flicking to me briefly. "She stays," he said simply. "The blood moon has marked her. The bond cannot be undone. She is mine, and anyone who touches her answers to me." A female wolf lunged forward. "Then we will enforce the law ourselves." The alpha moved faster than thought, intercepting her, claws slashing, growl deep and resonant, shaking the walls. Other wolves attacked, chaos erupting in a whirlwind of fur, teeth, and claws. I pressed myself against the wall, shivering, terrified yet unable to look away. The bond burned in my chest, drawing me closer to him despite the danger. Every movement he made, every strike, resonated through me, leaving me trembling with fear and something else I could not name. He fought like a storm incarnate, fluid, deadly, merciless. No hesitation, no mercy for those who threatened me. Each strike, each growl, each leap pushed the pack back, asserting his dominance in a way that made even me, caught in the pull of the bond, shiver with awe and dread. "Alpha!" one of the council cried. "You are destroying your pack for a human." "I am protecting what is mine," he roared, voice cutting through the chaos. "And if the pack cannot stand with me, then they will fall." The fight raged for what felt like hours, bodies colliding, for flying growls tearing through the night. But through it all, he never left my side, moving with a predator's precision, shielding me, forcing me into his shadow. At one point, a younger male tried to leap at me, claws extended. The alpha intercepted him mid-air, knocking him aside effortlessly. The bond pulsed violently, fiery and urgent, and I felt a rush of heat that left me dizzy. "You cannot defy me," he growled at the council, voice low, deadly. Not her. Not the bond. Not fate itself. And then, in the midst of chaos, he did something unexpected. He reached for me, hand brushing my cheek, pulling me against him. The bond flared, explosive, as if acknowledging ownership, desire, protection, and possession all at once. I wanted to push him away. I wanted to scream, deny, flee. But the bond in the heat of his body, the roar of his power, the danger, it was intoxicating. I could not resist. "You are mine," he whispered, voice low, rough, and filled with a dangerous tenderness. "Yes," I whispered back against my will and yet not, heart pounding, cheeks flushed, terror and desire intertwined. The battle reached its peak, pack members backing down, realizing the alpha's dominance, the impossibility of challenging him while the bond burned between us. Slowly, the council withdrew, snarls and growls fading, leaving the alpha standing, chest heaving, eyes glowing like molten fire. The room fell silent, broken only by our ragged breathing. He turned to me, hand still on my cheek, gaze softening just enough to make my knees weak. "You survived," he murmured. "And so did I. But understand this." His voice hardened. "No one will ever take you from me. Not the pack. Not the council. Not even yourself." I swallowed, trembling. "Even if I hate you." He tilted his head, amber eyes burning. "Even if you hate me. Because the bond doesn't care about hate. It only knows what is fated. And you are mine." The blood moon outside cast red shadows over us, and I realized, with a shiver that was part fear, part longing, part something darker, that there was no escaping him. No escaping the bond. No escaping fate. And for the first time I didn't want to. Chapter 11. Aftermath of the Blood Moon. The hall was quiet now, though the air still vibrated with tension. The snow outside had stopped, leaving the courtyard glistening under the pale light of the blood moon. Inside, the pack moved cautiously, bodies tense, ears twitching, eyes darting. The council had retreated, their hisses and growls replaced by murmurs of unease. I stayed close to the Alpha, my heart still racing, pulse hammering in my chest. The bond between us was no longer subtle. It pulsed, alive and demanding, dragging me toward him even as I tried to pull away. "You're trembling," he murmured, voice low, rich with that dangerous warmth that both terrified and enthralled me. "I'm not used to this," I admitted. "All of it, the pack, the council, the blood." My voice trailed off. He tilted his head, amber eyes studying me like he was trying to read the deepest parts of my soul. "You're alive. You're unharmed. And that's what matters. The rest will adjust. They will learn. They will obey." I swallowed hard. "Even if I don't want to belong." His lips curved faintly. "Even if you don't want to. The bond doesn't ask permission. Claims what is fated. You are mine." I wanted to deny it, but the pulse in my chest was undeniable. Fear and longing tangled together, binding me to him more tightly than chains ever could. Some pack members lingered, watching from the edges of the hall. I could see the questions in their eyes, the uncertainty, the fear, the grudging respect. The Alpha had risked everything. His authority, the loyalty of his pack, even his life, to protect me. "You've made enemies," I whispered. "The council won't forget this." He didn't flinch. "Let them try. No one can challenge me when it comes to what is mine. They may test me, but they will learn. You will learn too, eventually. Trust me." The bond flared again, hotter this time, pulling me into his space, making my pulse skip, my breath catch. I hated how much I wanted him, how much I needed him, how the very essence of me seemed tethered to his. "You're a monster," I said softly, though my voice trembled. "Yes," he replied, voice low and dark. "And you love that I am. Just as you hate it." I closed my eyes, trying to calm the chaos inside me, but the bond refused to quiet. It demanded him, claimed him, burned me with need and fear and something deeper, something I didn't have words for. He leaned close, and I could feel the heat of his body, the rough edges of his strength, the dangerous allure of his dominance. "You will survive this," he whispered. "Because I will not let anyone take you. Not the council. Not the pack. Not even yourself." I shivered, unable to move. "Even if I hate you. Even if you hate me," he said. "Because fate doesn't wait for love or hate. It only knows the bond." The hall seemed to close in around us, the pack and council fading into shadows. There was only him, only the pull of the bond, only the heat and danger of him pressed close. And I realized, with a clarity that made my chest ache, that there was no escape. Not from him. Not from the bond. Not from what we were becoming. "You've changed everything," I whispered. "The pack, the council, me. And yet," he murmured, lips brushing my hair, "you are still mine. And you will survive. And when the blood moon fades, and the council comes again, you will stand with me. Not because you have to, but because you will." I wanted to protest. I wanted to fight. I wanted to run. But the bond flared, scorching hot, unrelenting, and I realized something terrifying. I didn't want to. Not really. The Alpha pulled me closer, hand warm and strong against my back. "We are bound," he said, voice low, rough, intimate. "And nothing will change that. Not fear. Not hate. Not even the world itself." I closed my eyes, pressed against him, shivering with a mixture of fear, desire, and awe. The pack and council might rise against him. They might try to take me. But at that moment all I could feel was the bond, the pull, the impossible, intoxicating, dangerous pull that tied me to the Alpha. And I knew, with a mixture of dread and anticipation, that my life had forever changed. For better or worse, I was his. Chapter 12. The bond deepens. The blood moon had faded, leaving the world washed in a pale silver light. Snow glimmered on the ground, sparkling like shattered glass. The pack house was quieter now, but the tension in the air hadn't eased. Wolves moved cautiously, aware that the alpha had proven his dominance but also that the council's wrath still loomed. I remained close to him, the bond between us pulsing stronger than ever. It wasn't just a connection anymore. It was a living force, weaving our heartbeats, our thoughts, our very breaths together. Every pulse made my chest ache, every surge made my pulse skip, and every time he moved near me, the fire within me burned hotter, uncontrollable, undeniable. "You feel it too," he murmured, brushing a lock of hair from my face. His amber eyes glowed with quiet intensity. "The bond, it's stronger now. The blood moon has awakened it fully." I swallowed hard, heart hammering. "It's overwhelming." "Overwhelming, yes. Dangerous, yes. But necessary," he said. "It will protect you. It will protect me. And it will bind us together, whether you want it or not." I hated the way those words made my stomach flutter and my breath catch. Hated that they stirred something inside me I didn't want to admit. And yet, I couldn't fight it. He moved closer, hand brushing my cheek, thumb tracing the line of my jaw. The bond flared, burning bright and unrelenting. I pressed back instinctively, but the pull was too strong. My chest pressed to his, pulse racing in sync with his own. "Do you understand?" he asked, voice low, intimate, rough. "The bond doesn't wait for permission, doesn't ask for consent. It only claims what is fated." "Yes," I whispered, voice trembling. I understand." He leaned closer, amber eyes locking with mine, the heat of his body radiating against mine. "And yet you resist." "I have to," I said, though my hands betrayed me, clutching his shoulders, heart thundering. I can't just give in." He smiled faintly, dangerous, predatory. "No, I can't. And that's why the bond grows stronger. Every denial, every hesitation feeds it. Feeds us." I closed my eyes, shivering. Every fiber of my being screamed to pull away, yet the bond's grip was intoxicating. Every nerve on fire, every breath stolen, every heartbeat shared. "You are mine," he murmured, voice low, rough. "Even if you fight it, even if you hate me, even if the world tries to take you." My voice faltered. I hated that I was trembling against him. Hated that I wanted him as much as I feared him. He leaned closer, lips brushing against my ear, whispering words that made my knees weak. "And I am yours. Completely. Every heartbeat, every breath, every shadow. No one will claim you. No one. Not the pack. Not the council. Not even you." The bond pulsed violently, a living force that made me gasp. Heat, fear, desire, and something deeper intertwined, impossible to separate. I hated how much I wanted him. Hated how much I feared him. Hated how much I craved this connection that shouldn't exist. His hand slid down my arm, brushing my hand. The fire flared hotter, drawing me closer, binding me in ways I couldn't resist. I pressed my forehead to his chest, feeling the strength beneath my palms, the warmth, the heartbeat that matched my own. "You feel it too," he whispered, amber eyes gleaming. "The bond doesn't lie. Mine. And you know it. Even if you don't want to admit it." I couldn't deny it. Not anymore. The bond, the blood moon, the danger, the desire. It had claimed me fully, irrevocably. And though I hated it, though I feared it, though I had vowed to resist, I realized the truth with a shiver that was part fear, part longing, part something darker. I didn't want to escape. Not from him. Not from the bond. Not from what we had become. And as the alpha pressed a soft, possessive kiss to my forehead, I knew there was no going back. My heart, my body, my very soul had been claimed. And I would survive. But only with him. Chapter 13. The Council Strikes Back. The night air was cold and sharp, biting at my skin through the thin layers I wore. The pack house was quiet, deceptively calm, as though the storm of the blood moon had passed. But I knew better. The council would not forgive. They would not forget. And they would strike when we were least prepared. "I feel it," the alpha murmured behind me. his hand brushing lightly against my back. The bond pulsed, warning, insistent. "They're coming." I swallowed hard, heart hammering. "How do you know?" He didn't answer, just moved toward the hall entrance with predator-like precision. Amber eyes glowing in the dim light, muscles coiled. Every instinct screamed danger. I followed, drawn by the bond, terrified, and yet unable to resist. Every step closer to him sent shivers down my spine, every heartbeat shared tethering me tighter to his side. Outside, snow had fallen thick, muffling sounds but not intentions. The silence broke suddenly, a chorus of snarls, growls, and the sound of claws scraping against stone. The council had arrived. "They moved too fast," I whispered. Fear and anticipation warred in my chest. "They always do," he murmured, voice low, calm but deadly. "And we will stop them." The first wave of council members attacked, leaping with fangs bared and claws extended. The Alpha intercepted each with precision, every movement fluid, predatory, unstoppable. I pressed against the wall, eyes wide, the bond flaring violently with each strike, every roar, every growl. "You will not touch her," he roared, amber eyes blazing. "Not one of you." One elder lunged at me, claws outstretched. The Alpha moved faster than thought, catching her wrist mid-air, snapping it aside. His growl rolled through the snow-dusted courtyard, a sound that made even the boldest wolf hesitate. The battle escalated, pack members caught between loyalty and fear, council members relentless, striking with everything they had. And through it all, he did not leave my side, moving in a deadly circle of protection around me. I pressed my hands to my face, shivering. The bond pulsed hotter than ever, dragging me closer, binding me to him, making my breath catch, my chest ache, my pulse race. "You are mine," he whispered, voice low, intimate and dangerous. "And no one will take you. Not the council. Not the pack. Not even fate itself." I faltered, voice trembling. Fear, desire, and longing tangled into a mess of emotion I could not control. "I can't." "Yes, you can," he said softly, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Because the bond doesn't lie. And because you are mine. Fully. Completely." The council surged again, desperate, relentless. The Alpha's claws glinted in the moonlight, his teeth bared, his growls rolling through the snow-covered courtyard like thunder. I could feel the heat, the power, the danger, the bond amplifying it all, wrapping me tighter, claiming me with every heartbeat. "You cannot resist it," he murmured, voice rough, amber eyes burning into mine. "You may hate me, you may fear me, but the bond will not release you. And neither will I." I closed my eyes, trembling, shivering, and yet unable to pull away. Every sense screamed danger, every fiber of my being burned with desire, fear, and something darker, something I could not name. And as the Alpha hurled a council member aside with terrifying strength, I realized the truth. No one would ever take me from him. Not the council. Not the pack. Not even myself. The bond flared, fierce and unstoppable, and I shivered against him. I'm yours," I whispered, voice trembling. "Yes," he murmured, lips brushing my hair. "And I am yours. Always." The council's assault faltered, wolves retreating, snarls turning into hisses of fear and disbelief. The Alpha stood in the center, chest heaving, eyes blazing, radiating power and possession. And I realized, with a shiver that was part terror, part longing, part something darker, that my life had irrevocably changed, forever claimed. Chapter 14. The Alpha's Ultimatum. The morning after the council's failed strike was cold, sharp, and unrelenting. Snow blanketed the courtyard, untouched and pristine, as though the world itself was holding its breath. Inside, the packhouse hummed with tension, fear, and cautious whispers. Every wolf present knew the Alpha had survived the Blood Moon battle, but the question lingered. What would he do next? I stayed close to him, the bond between us still pulsing like a living heartbeat. Every thrum, every tug, reminded me that I was irrevocably tethered to him. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. There was no turning back. No escape. They will not relent, I whispered, voice trembling. The council, they will strike again. He turned, amber eyes blazing, intensity radiating from every muscle. Let them try, he said simply. They have tested me and failed. They will learn the cost of defying me. The pack gathered in the main hall, council members included. Their fangs bared, claws flexing, eyes narrowed. The alpha stepped forward, every movement deliberate, calculated, radiating power. The bond pulled me closer as he moved, as if I were a living extension of him. I have survived your attacks, he began, voice low, lethal, echoing through the hall. I have protected what is mine. I have defended the bond that connects me to her. And now, you will obey. A council elder growled, stepping forward. You cannot force us. Tradition is law. Tradition, he spat, amber eyes flashing. Tradition is meaningless if it leaves those I claim vulnerable. I'm Alpha. I decide the law. And I have decided, she remains mine. All of you will follow or you will leave. There is no other choice. A tense silence followed. Wolves shifted uneasily. The council exchanged glances. None dared step closer. Every muscle of the alpha radiated lethal dominance. Every growl, every glance a warning they could not ignore. I pressed my hand against his chest, feeling the bond surge, a living force, unrelenting, claiming me more with every heartbeat. The fear and desire and possessive energy radiating from him made me tremble, but I couldn't pull away. The bond refused. Fate refused. He had claimed me, and I knew it. You force me, the elder said finally, voice low and dangerous. But you risk your pack for her. And I risk nothing but failure if I do not protect her, he replied, amber eyes blazing. The pack will follow me. You will follow me. Or leave. The choice is yours. But she will remain mine. Do you understand? They hesitated. One by one, the council members lowered their heads, acknowledging the ultimatum. The pack murmured their assent, loyalty bending under the weight of the alpha's dominance. I felt the bond tighten, pulsing in my chest, every nerve alight. I hated how much I wanted him, how much I feared him, how completely he had claimed me. Yet there was no denying the surge of relief, the intoxicating heat of protection and possession. You will obey, he repeated, voice low, rough, intimate, yet utterly commanding. Not for law, not for tradition, not for fear. You will obey because I am Alpha, and she is mine. I closed my eyes, shivering, trembling, body and soul caught in the impossible, irresistible force of the bond. I understand, I whispered, though it was the bond speaking as much as me. He bent close, amber eyes holding mine, lips brushing against my temple. And you will survive. You will thrive. Because I will not allow harm to touch you. Not from anyone. Not even fate itself. The council and pack stayed silent, the weight of his words sinking deep. Their defiance had been tested, and the Alpha had emerged victorious. Not just in battle, but in law, in power, in destiny. I pressed closer to him, hands clutching his shoulders, heart hammering. The bond flared hotter, claiming me fully, unyielding, undeniable. I hated how much I wanted this, hated how much I feared it, hated how completely I had been claimed. He leaned closer, voice a low whisper against my ear, warm, intimate, dangerous. You are mine. And you always will be. No council, no pack, no world, no choice of your own. Nothing will take you from me. I shivered, breath catching. I'm yours, I whispered, trembling. Completely. The bond flared one final time, scorching, alive, unbreakable. I realized, with a mixture of fear, desire, and awe, that my life had irrevocably changed. I was bound to him, claimed by him, and there was no going back. The Alpha pulled me close, hands strong, protective, possessive. And I am yours. Always, he whispered. Outside, the snow glinted, untouched, as though the world itself was holding its breath. Inside, the pack, the council, the laws of tradition, they all bent to his will. And I knew, with every heartbeat, every pulse of the bond, that nothing, no fear, no hate, no force in the world would ever separate us. I was his. Fully. Irrevocably. Chapter 15. The Bond Tested. The morning after the ultimatum, the air in the pack house was heavier than snow. The halls were silent, not out of peace but out of fear. Every wolf knew the alpha's wrath. Every wolf knew I was the center of it. I awoke alone. The bond still pulsed faintly in my chest, but he wasn't beside me. His absence felt like a phantom limb, an ache where there should have been warmth. I slipped out of bed, my bare feet brushing the cold stone floor, and followed the thread of the bond like a compass. It led me outside across the courtyard into the woods. I found him at the edge of the clearing, shirtless despite the winter chill, fists clenched, eyes closed. He was fighting his own temper, fighting it hard. The bond hummed louder when I drew closer, like a warning or a plea. "They're moving against me," he said without turning. His voice was a low growl, steady but lethal. "I can feel it." "The council?" I asked softly. "Not just them." He opened his eyes, and the amber glow was stronger than I'd ever seen. "Another pack. One that doesn't care about laws or tradition. Rogues. They're coming for you to break me." I shivered, though not from the cold. "What will you do?" He looked at me then, expression unreadable. "I will end them. All of them." The possessive ferocity in his voice made my pulse quicken. I wanted to tell him to stop, to breathe, to think. But part of me, dark, secret, thrilling, wanted him to be exactly as ruthless as he promised. "They're only coming because of me," I whispered. "If I left..." He spun, closing the space between us in an instant, eyes blazing. "No," his hands clamped down on my shoulders, firm, unyielding. "You don't leave. Ever. Do you hear me?" I swallowed hard. "I'm saying maybe if I go willingly." "There is no willingly," he growled, voice a low thunder. "There is no leaving. There is only us. Me. Bond. Nothing breaks that." I trembled under his grip, torn between fear and desire. "You're scaring me," I whispered. He blinked, his eyes flickering from amber to human brown, just for a moment. His grip softened. "I know," he murmured. "I'm scaring myself too." He released me and stepped back, running a hand through his hair. "They want to use you as leverage. They think they can test me. They think they can break me through you." I hugged myself. What if they're right? He turned slowly, his expression a mask of quiet rage. "Then the world will burn before I let them touch you." The bond flared hot between us. Dangerous, intoxicating, undeniable. He reached for me again, this time gentler, fingers brushing my cheek. "You're my mate. My fated. They can't take you. They can't even imagine what I'll do if they try." I closed my eyes, feeling the bond pulse like a drumbeat, an unbreakable rhythm tying me to him. "I don't want to be the reason people die," I whispered. He leaned closer, his forehead resting against mine. "Then stay with me. Trust me. Let me handle the blood." A branch snapped somewhere deeper in the woods. We both froze. The scent hit us first, feral, sharp, wrong. "Rogues. They're here," he said simply, voice low, a lethal calm settling over him. I barely had time to react before he shifted, bones cracking, fur erupting, a flash of amber eyes in a wolf's face. Massive, deadly, beautiful. My heart slammed against my ribs. The bond flared hotter, almost painful, pulling me toward him. 3 rogues emerged from the trees, eyes wild, teeth bared. They weren't here to negotiate. They were here to take me. The alpha's growl vibrated the earth itself. He lunged, a blur of fur and teeth, slamming into the first rogue with a sound like thunder. The second lunged for me. I stumbled back, heart racing. Before it could reach me, the bond surged. A wave of instinct, power, something primal. I raised my hands without thinking, and the rogue froze mid-lunge, eyes wide, muscles trembling as if something unseen held it still. The alpha tore through the first rogue, spinning to finish the second. The third bolted back into the trees, but he caught it before it could vanish, snapping its neck with a single twist. Silence fell, broken only by my ragged breathing. He shifted back, chest heaving, blood streaking his skin. He crossed the distance to me in 3 strides, hands cupping my face, eyes wild. "You used the bond," he said softly, almost in awe. I don't know how I did that," I whispered. My hands were still shaking. "It just happened." He smiled, a dark, dangerous smile. "They were right to be afraid." I shivered. "What's happening to me?" "You're not just mine," he murmured, thumb brushing my cheek. "You're becoming something more. The bond isn't just tying you to me. It's changing you." The words landed heavy. "Changing me. Forever." He leaned in close, his breath hot against my ear. "You see now why you can't leave," he whispered. "You're not human anymore. You're not even what you were. You're ours. You're mine." I swallowed hard. "And if I don't want this?" His eyes softened, but his voice stayed firm. "You do. You're afraid, but you do. The bond doesn't lie." I closed my eyes, the truth pressing against me from all sides. I had felt power. I had stopped a rogue with a thought. I had felt the bond flare like a living thing inside me. And I had liked it. The Alpha pressed his forehead against mine again. His voice low, intimate, deadly. "Stay close. It's not over yet. More will come. They will test us. They will test the bond. And we will show them what we are." I shivered, not from cold, but from the way the bond thrummed inside me like a second heartbeat. Something was happening to me. Something I couldn't stop. And for the first time I wasn't sure I wanted to. Chapter 16, The War for the Bond. The wind howled through the trees like a warning. Snow swirled across the courtyard, masking tracks, concealing danger. I huddled close to the Alpha, bond pulsing, alive, unrelenting. Every heartbeat, every pulse of the bond made my chest ache and my pulse race. "They're coming," he said, voice low, guttural, amber eyes blazing. "All of them. The rogue pack. The council. Anyone who thinks they can take you from me." I shivered, pressing closer. "Can we stop them?" He grinned, dangerous, predatory. "We don't stop them. We end them." The pack rallied around him, senses sharp, bodies tensed. I could feel the bond thrumming, pulling me closer, tying me to him, merging fear and desire into a single combustible force. The first wave of attackers came from the forest edge. Wolves, larger, faster, and feral, leapt into the snow, claws and teeth flashing. The Alpha lunged, shifting midair into his wolf form, a massive, terrifying creature, glowing amber eyes cutting through the blizzard-like snow. I froze, heart hammering, and then felt the bond surge. I didn't know how, but instinctively I reached out, and a wave of force rippled from me. One of the rogues faltered, crashing into another, unable to move. The Alpha roared, a sound that shook the forest, and the bond flared even brighter. He fought with a lethal grace, protecting me, moving through the attackers like a storm incarnate. I clutched at him, fear and desire twisting inside me, and the bond flared hotter, almost unbearably so. "Stay close," he growled. "Do not fight them yet. Let me draw them in." I obeyed, though trembling. Every rogue that came near felt the bond's pull, hesitation flickering in their eyes. My body hummed with power I didn't understand. I hated that I liked it. I hated that I feared what I could do. The battle escalated, a storm of fur, claws, teeth, snow, and blood. The Alpha moved through it all with unrelenting precision, and I could feel his heartbeat in my chest, the bond thundering like a war drum. Then one rogue broke through, eyes fixed on me, claws raised. I felt the bond flare violently, pulling me toward the Alpha's side, almost dragging me. Instinctively I raised my hands, and the rogue froze mid-leap, muscles rigid, eyes wide with terror. The Alpha tore through the remaining attackers, snarling, snapping, moving like a living weapon. I could feel every strike, every movement, every protective surge through the bond. It pulsed violently, a living thing, claiming me, teaching me, binding me closer. Finally silence fell. Snow settled over the battlefield, flecked with blood. The alpha shifted back into human form, chest heaving, eyes glowing amber, jaw tight with barely controlled rage. He crossed to me, hands cupping my face. "You feel that," he whispered. "The bond. Stronger than ever. They came for you but they couldn't touch you. You protected yourself. And me." I shivered, overwhelmed. I didn't mean to." "No," he murmured, lips brushing my hair. "You didn't have to. But you did. And that's what matters. You're becoming more than you were. More than I even imagined." I felt heat, pride, fear, and desire crashing together. The bond pulsed violently, scorching, claiming me. I'm scared," I admitted, voice trembling. He smiled, dangerous and tender at the same time. "Good," he whispered. "Because you should be. You're mine entirely. And now the bond isn't just mine. It's ours. And it will grow stronger every day, until nothing in this world can break it." I pressed closer, shivering against him, heart hammering. The battlefield was silent now, the attackers gone or destroyed. Only the alpha remained, a living force of danger, desire, and possession. And I knew, with a shiver that was part fear, part longing, part something darker, that my life had changed forever. The bond had claimed me. He had claimed me. And I didn't want to escape. Not now. Not ever. Chapter 17. The Council's Last Gamble. The morning air was heavy with tension, the kind that makes your skin prickle and your heart hammer in your chest. The snow had melted into slush, blackened by the footsteps of those who dared challenge the alpha. The pack house felt suffocating, walls pressing in as if the building itself feared what was coming. "They're desperate," I whispered, my breath visible in the cold. "The council, they'll do anything now." The alpha's eyes narrowed, amber glowing with the promise of retribution. "Desperation is dangerous," he murmured. "And they are about to learn just how dangerous I can be." I swallowed, pressing close. The bond pulsed violently, alive and insistent, tugging me toward him, claiming me. Fear, desire, and adrenaline fused into a sharp edge that left me trembling. "They're bringing reinforcements," I said softly. "Outside packs. Even rogue hunters." He growled, a low, predatory sound that made the walls of the packhouse vibrate. "Then they'll learn that nothing can break what is ours." The council entered the main hall, faces masked in fury and fear. Their eyes flicked to me, calculating, desperate, their collective power a fragile shield against what they could not yet control. "This ends today," the council elder said, voice sharp, cold. "We will remove her from your influence. You cannot claim her. She is not yours by law or by fate." The alpha stepped forward, every movement deliberate, radiating lethal confidence. "Law," he spat. "Fate. You misunderstand both. She's mine. And the bond does not lie." One of the council members lunged, claws flashing, but he moved faster. A blur of muscle and fur. He intercepted, snapping the attack aside and sending the wolf crashing into a wall. The bond surged as I stepped closer, instinctively, and I felt something new awaken within me. A fierce, untamed energy that made the council member falter, eyes wide in disbelief. "You're changing," he said, amber eyes locking on mine. "The bond is teaching you, guiding you, claiming you fully." I don't know what's happening," I whispered, fear and desire and exhilaration spinning through me. "They're about to find out," he murmured. "Stand close. Stay with me." The council renewed their attack, more coordinated, more desperate. But every strike, every leap, every lunge was met with the alpha's lethal precision. He moved like a shadow, a storm, a predator whose skill and dominance made even the boldest council members falter. I felt the bond flare, pulsing, alive, responding to his energy and my own. I raised my hands instinctively, the same wave of force as before, and two of the attackers froze mid-leap, teeth bared, claws extended but unable to move. One of the council members snarled, eyes glowing with fury, and hurled a dagger toward me. Instinctively, the bond flared again, and the dagger froze in midair, hovering like a wisp of danger caught by unseen hands. The alpha's growl echoed through the hall. "You will not touch her." I pressed my forehead to his chest, trembling. The bond surged stronger than ever, a living thing of heat, power, and desire. My body hummed with energy, my senses sharp, my pulse synced to his. I hated how much power I felt, how much the bond consumed me. The council's attacks faltered. Their desperation had made them reckless. They underestimated what the bond could do, underestimated what the alpha would do to protect me, underestimated what I had become. The elder council member stepped back, fangs bared, claws flexing. "This isn't over," he hissed. "You cannot control her forever." The alpha smiled, dark and dangerous. "Control? Well, protection, claim, survival. That is what I offer. And the bond does not lie. She is mine. And anyone who challenges that will be destroyed." I shivered, body and soul intertwined with him. I'm yours," I whispered, trembling. "Completely." "Yes," he said softly, lips brushing my temple. "And I am yours. Always. No one, no council, no pack, no world, no force. Nothing will take you from me." The council faltered, their last gamble shattered. Outside forces had been tested, their attempts at leverage destroyed. The bond pulsed between us, unyielding, unstoppable, alive. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying and exhilarating. I was no longer just a mate, a prize, or a pawn. I was part of something larger, something impossible to escape. The alpha pulled me close, hands strong, possessive, tender. "The bond is ours," he whispered. "And now, they will learn that nothing in this world can break it." I pressed closer, trembling, heart hammering, the bond blazing inside me. Fear, desire, power, and love twisted together into something I had never known, and I didn't want to escape. Not now. Not ever. Chapter 18. The Alpha's True Power. The aftermath of the council's failed strike left the packhouse tense but vigilant. Wolves patrolled the perimeter, eyes sharp, ears twitching at every sound. The snow outside was quiet, almost deceptive in its serenity, but inside, the air thrummed with anticipation. I stayed close to the alpha, feeling the bond pulse like a living heartbeat. Every beat of his chest against mine, every subtle tug of the bond, made my pulse race. I could feel the changes in myself, the new strength, the heightened senses, the awareness that I was no longer entirely human. "You feel it too, don't you?" he murmured, amber eyes glowing. "The bond. It's more than connection now. It's power, protection, domination." I swallowed hard, trembling. "I think so. I feel different." He smiled, dangerous and predatory. "Good. That's exactly how it should feel. You're not just mine. You're part of me. Part of something greater. And soon, the world will see what that truly means." Outside, the snow shifted. The wind carried whispers of movement, subtle but distinct. Another force approached, stronger, more coordinated, more deadly. A rival alpha seeking to challenge him, to test the bond, to claim me as leverage. He tensed, amber eyes narrowing. "They think they can test me. They'll see what happens when the bond is fully awakened." The ground trembled slightly as he shifted, not fully into wolf form yet, but something more, a hybrid of human and wolf energy, power rippling in visible waves through the snow. Fur bristled along his arms, eyes glowing brighter than I had ever seen. The air seemed to charge around him, crackling with anticipation and menace. I felt the bond surge violently, and a thrill I couldn't deny coursed through me. My body hummed with energy, senses sharper than ever. I realized, with a shiver of fear and exhilaration, that I was becoming something more too. My thoughts, my instincts, my very presence resonated with the bond, amplifying his power and claiming my own. "They're coming," I whispered, voice trembling. "Let them," he growled. "Let them feel the strength of what we are. And you." He cupped my face, amber eyes burning into mine. You will stand with me. You will fight with me. And together, nothing can challenge us. The rival alpha emerged from the treeline, massive, menacing, eyes flashing with fury. His pack followed, snarling, teeth bared, claws flexing. But the moment he saw the alpha, he hesitated. The aura of power, the dominance, the bond itself radiating between us was something he had never faced. You dare challenge me? The rival alpha roared, teeth bared. The alpha stepped forward, bond flaring, power radiating like a storm. I am alpha. She is mine. You will not touch her. Not one hair. Not one breath. You challenge me, you challenge the bond. And you will be destroyed. I felt the bond pulse violently, heat and energy coursing through me. My hands tingled, senses sharp, instincts alive in ways I could barely control. I stepped closer, pressed against him, and realized the truth. I could feel his power through me, my own strength intertwining, amplifying, merging with his. The rival alpha lunged, claws extended, teeth bared. The alpha moved faster, shifting fully into wolf form, massive, terrifying, glowing amber eyes cutting through the snowstorm. The bond flared, and I felt an instinctive surge of power, a force from within me, that stopped the attacker mid-leap, frozen by something unseen. The alpha snapped, a roar that shattered the silence, and the rival alpha was hurled back by the sheer force of the bond and his power combined. The attackers faltered, fear spreading like wildfire as the alpha moved through them, a predator incarnate, every strike precise, every movement deadly. I shivered, feeling the bond intensify. I can help, I whispered. I think I can control some of it. He looked at me, eyes softening, amber glowing brighter. Yes, you can. You're mine, part of me, and the bond has awakened you. Trust it. Trust yourself. And together we are unstoppable. I raised my hands instinctively. The bond surged, energy rippling outward, sending the remaining attackers staggering, faltering, frozen. The alpha moved beside me, lethal, predatory, protective, and together, we were a force the world could not reckon with. The rival alpha finally retreated, his pack scattered, but the message was clear. No one could challenge the bond, no one could claim me, and no one could test the alpha without consequence. The snow settled. Silence fell. The bond between us pulsed, alive, unrelenting, claiming me fully. I pressed closer to him, body trembling, heart hammering. You feel it, he whispered, lips brushing my hair. The true power of the bond. This is just the beginning. And you, my mate, my fated, will grow with me. You will see what we are capable of together. I shivered, fear, desire, and exhilaration twisting inside me. I want to, I admitted. I want to be with you. All of it. He smiled, dangerous, predatory, but tender in a way that made my knees weak. Then stay close. The bond will guide you, claim you, and protect you. And together, we will reshape everything. The pack, the world, fate itself. They cannot touch us now. And they never will. The bond flared once more, hotter, brighter, unstoppable. I pressed my forehead to his chest, heart sinking with his, every pulse, every beat, every surge of energy a reminder that I was his, fully, irrevocably. And I realized, with a shiver that was fear, longing, and something darker all at once, I didn't want to escape. Not now. Not ever. Chapter 19. The Alpha's Ultimate Test. The wind bit sharper than ever, cutting through the snow like knives. The packhouse was tense, silent, every wolf on edge. Outside, shadows shifted, strange movements flickering between the trees. Something was coming, something powerful, something that would force the alpha, and me, to the edge. I pressed close to him, heart hammering. The bond pulsed violently, thrumming like a living heartbeat, pulling me closer, claiming me, warning me. They're here, I whispered. He nodded, amber eyes blazing. The final test. The challenge we've been waiting for. From the treeline a figure emerged. Taller than any wolf I'd seen, radiating authority and menace. Another alpha. One who had heard rumors of the bond, who had come to see if it could be broken. He stepped into the snow, fangs bared, eyes glowing an unnatural silver. "You claim her," the newcomer said, voice deep and threatening. "But the bond is not yours alone. I will test it. I will see if your control is true." The alpha's jaw tightened. "She is mine," he growled, body tensing like a coiled spring. "The bond does not lie. And anyone who challenges it dies." The silver-eyed alpha laughed, low and dangerous. "We shall see." The ground trembled as the two alphas shifted simultaneously, muscles rippling, fur erupting, eyes blazing. The bond pulsed between us, responding to the threat, to the danger, to the rising tension. I felt it in my bones, in my pulse, in the very marrow of my body. "You will not touch her," the alpha murmured, voice low, dangerous, as he shifted fully, massive, predatory, a living storm of amber and muscle. The silver-eyed alpha lunged. The alpha met him mid-air, claws flashing, teeth snapping. The sound was deafening, roars, snarls, snow exploding beneath them. The ground quaked as they collided, two forces of nature tearing through the courtyard, neither giving an inch. I pressed closer, feeling the bond flare violently. My own power surged with it, a heat and energy I couldn't control. I raised my hands instinctively, and a wave of force shot outward, freezing one of the attacking wolves mid-leap. The alpha growled, eyes locking on mine. "Good. Focus. Control it." I inhaled sharply, concentrating, and the bond pulsed again. Another wave of energy rippled through the snow, staggering the silver-eyed alpha and his pack. The alpha used the moment to strike, claws and teeth ablur, moving like a predator possessed. The battle raged, a storm of fur, teeth, claws, snow, and blood. Every pulse of the bond connected us, every surge of power linked me to him, teaching me, claiming me. I shivered, half in fear, half in exhilaration. "You're stronger than I imagined," he whispered, leaning close despite the chaos, lips brushing my hair. "You're part of me now. Part of this power." I trembled, breathless. "I can feel it. Everything. Bond. Us." The alpha roared, a sound that shook the forest, the ground, the snow. The silver-eyed alpha faltered, eyes wide in disbelief at the sheer force radiating from him and me. The bond flared hotter, a living fire that claimed the air, the snow, and the battlefield. "You will submit," the rival roared, desperation creeping into his voice. The alpha bared his teeth. "We do not submit. We end this." With a final, shattering roar, the alpha and I combined our power fully. The bond surged, a tidal wave of energy that slammed into the rival alpha, toppling him, scattering his pack. Snow and ice flew in a blinding whirlwind. The alpha landed beside me, chest heaving, amber eyes blazing with lethal triumph. I pressed against him, trembling, exhilarated, terrified. "Is it over?" He looked down at me, lips brushing my temple. "For now. But every test strengthens the bond. And now you see, nothing in this world can break it. No council, no rogue, no alpha, no law. Nothing can touch what is ours." The snow settled, silence falling over the battlefield. Wolves stirred, cautious, aware that they had witnessed something beyond comprehension. The bond pulsed between us, alive, unrelenting, claiming me fully. He cupped my face, amber eyes softening but still dangerous. "Do you understand now? Mine. Fully. Irrevocably. And together we are unstoppable." I shivered, fear and desire, power and awe twisting inside me. "I understand. I want to stay. Always." He smiled, predatory and tender, and pressed his forehead to mine. "Good. Because now no one, not even fate, can separate us." The bond flared one final time, hotter, brighter, unyielding. I pressed closer, heart racing, body trembling. I was his. Fully. Irrevocably. And nothing in the world could take that away. Chapter 20. The Alpha's Claim Fulfilled. The dawn broke in streaks of crimson and gold, melting the snow and painting the packhouse in fierce, almost violent beauty. Silence hung over the courtyard, broken only by the soft footfalls of wolves patrolling their territory, alert but wary. Every corner, every shadow seemed to hum with the aftershocks of the battles that had raged here. I stood beside him, the bond pulsing like a living heartbeat between us. I had never felt so alive, so dangerous, so irrevocably connected to another soul. Every fiber of me vibrated with the Alpha's presence. Every thought, every instinct was tied to him. "Today," he murmured, amber eyes sweeping over the pack, "is the day the world finally understands that the bond is ours, that you are mine, that nothing, no one, can challenge what we are." I shivered, not from the cold, but from the sheer power radiating from him, from the bond, from the promise of what we were together. "I feel it. Everything. The bond. Me." He smiled, a dark, predatory smile that made my knees weak. "Good. That is exactly how it should feel. You are no longer just mine in name. You are mine in every way, in every pulse, every thought, every desire. And now, it's time to show them." The pack gathered, forming a circle around us, eyes wide with reverence, fear, and awe. Even those who had doubted the Alpha, even those who had challenged his rule, now bowed their heads. The bond pulsed outward, a wave of heat, energy, and unspoken authority that left no doubt who commanded this territory. "You will speak, Alpha," one of the elder wolves murmured, hesitant. "What of the council? The rivals? The world beyond?" He turned, amber eyes flashing toward me. "They will learn. They will understand that the bond is not weakness. It is strength. It is power. And they will never, ever break it." I pressed closer, feeling the bond surge stronger, claiming me fully, intertwining our energies in a way that was both terrifying and intoxicating. "And me," I whispered. "What am I now?" His gaze softened just for a moment, though it still burned with possession. "You are mine, Iluna, me mate, my equal in this bond. And now, the world will bow to it, whether they like it or not." He moved then, hands strong, possessive, brushing my hair from my face. "Do you understand what this means?" I nodded, heart hammering. "I do. I want it. All of it." A ripple of energy passed between us, the bond flaring brighter, hotter, alive in a way that left no room for doubt. The Alpha roared, a sound that shook the packhouse, echoed through the surrounding forest, and carried beyond, a warning to any who would dare challenge us. The ground trembled beneath us, snow flying in a blinding storm of energy. The Alpha stepped forward, pulling me into his arms. "Then let this be known," he shouted, voice low, dangerous, and filled with ownership. "The bond is ours. 'Tis mine. And anyone who thinks otherwise will burn before me." The pack shivered, acknowledging the truth, fear and reverence twisting together in the cold morning air. Even the elders, even the skeptics, bowed their heads, acknowledging the Alpha's claim and the bond's irreversible power. I rested my forehead against his chest, feeling his heartbeat in perfect rhythm with mine. The bond pulsed, a living, breathing entity that tied us together irrevocably. I could feel every ounce of his strength, his power, his desire for me. And I could feel mine, my own rising strength, my own instincts, my own unrelenting claim on him. "You are mine," he whispered, lips brushing my temple. "And I am yours. Always. Completely. Irrevocably." I shivered, warmth and fear and desire coursing through me. "I am yours," I murmured, voice trembling. "Fully. Always." He pressed a kiss to my forehead, then my lips, possessive, claiming, sealing the bond in a way that left no doubt. The world outside could challenge, threaten, or resist, but we were untouchable. Together. Unstoppable. Dangerous. The council would never forget this day. The rivals would never dare return. The bond had been tested, proven, and amplified. And I, trembling in his arms, knew that I had been claimed in every possible way. Heart, body, and soul. "Today," he murmured, amber eyes glowing like molten gold. "We are the storm. The bond is the fire. And together, we are untouchable." I closed my eyes, letting the bond consume me fully, my body and mind entwined with his. Together, I whispered. Always. He smiled, lips brushing mine again, and the world seemed to fall away. The snow, the pack, the forests beyond. All of it became secondary to the bond, to us, to the power we shared. And for the first time I understood completely. I was no longer a victim, no longer just a mate, no longer just human. I was part of something unstoppable, dangerous, and irreversible. The Alpha held me close, body pressed to mine, amber eyes glowing with possession and desire. The bond is ours, he whispered. And now, the world will know. She's mine. All of her. And no one can ever take her. I shivered, heart hammering, pulse synced to his, body trembling with fear, desire, and exhilaration. I am yours, I whispered. Fully. Always. The bond flared one final time, hotter, brighter, alive. I pressed closer, body and soul entwined, heart and mind connected, and I knew. I was his. Completely. Irrevocably. And nothing in the world could ever take that away. The Alpha's claim was fulfilled. The bond was absolute. And together, we were untouchable. Epilogue, forever bound. The snow had finally stopped falling, leaving the world outside crisp, white, and silent. The pack house stood strong, untouched by the chaos of the past battles, yet every corner seemed to hum with the energy of the bond. The invisible thread that tied me to the Alpha, stronger than any law, any council, any force that had dared challenge us. I stood on the balcony overlooking the forest, the morning sun glinting off the snow, reflecting in his amber eyes as he appeared beside me. He moved silently, powerful, predatory, yet there was tenderness in the way he regarded me, a duality I had come to accept, crave, and fear. You're quiet, he murmured, lips brushing my temple. Thinking of all they tried. All they failed to take. I shivered, leaning closer. I'm thinking about us. About the bond. About what it's done to me. To us. He smiled, dangerous, predatory, but undeniably soft in the way he held me. It's changed everything. But that's the point. Nothing in this world, no council, no rogue, no fate, can ever touch us now. You're mine. All of you. And I am yours. I pressed my forehead to his chest, listening to the steady thrum of his heartbeat, so synced with mine it felt like a single pulse. I never knew I could feel like this. So strong, so consumed, so alive. Good, he whispered, lips brushing my hair. You should feel that. You should know that being mine isn't just possession, it's power. Protection. It's everything. The forest around us stirred gently in the wind, yet there was a calm in it, a respect. Even the natural world seemed to acknowledge the bond, the claim, the power that had been forged through blood, fire, and unrelenting desire. I met his gaze, amber meeting amber, and saw not just desire, but unshakable dominance, and something else. Trust, unspoken, terrifying, and intoxicating. I'm yours, I whispered, voice trembling with fear and exhilaration. Completely. Always. He leaned closer, hands strong and possessive, tilting my chin up. Forever, he murmured. That's the only word that matters. You're mine. The bond is ours. And no one, nothing, can ever take that from us. I shivered, the bond flaring hotter, alive, pulsing, claiming me fully. And in that moment, fear and desire, exhilaration and surrender, all twisted together into something unstoppable, something unbreakable. I pressed my lips to his, finally, completely, the world around us fading to nothing but the heat of his body, the pulse of the bond, the certainty of what we had become. We were no longer human or merely alpha and mate. We were power incarnate. We were the storm. We were the fire. And forever, we were bound.